Thank you for sticking around. So we're just sort of like the follow this Trump stuff, talking about misogyny. We were talking off the mics about this next topic. I want you to leave this because I might have an issue. I don't know exactly if I understand where you're coming from. So explain your point.
Well, what I'm saying here is the media and those women and men in the media exploit monopoly.
Yeah.
Exploit monopoly. No, I'm kidding. Misogyny for their own gain. And one of the examples I want to use is Miley Cyrus. And think whatever you want about her, but that girl's got a beautiful voice. And she released 2 albums in the same year. One of them was a country album that was excellent. I enjoyed listening to it. It was great. Her voice was phenomenal. It felt like I'm watching the video and I'm like, man, I feel like I'm in her backyard. And of course, that sold some albums, but it, wasn't terribly successful. And then a while later, she came out with whatever album that is with Wrecking Ball, and she's sticking her tongue out and did that thing with is it Alan Thicke? That's not Alan.
No, his son.
His son. Doing all that stuff up on stage. And, don't get me wrong, that is visually exciting stuff for a guy, right? At least a guy in my generation. But I'm looking at that going, and everybody was talking about how terrible it was, and she's objectifying herself and all this other stuff. But it set records of sales. And so I sit there and I think, here she is buying into the misogyny that goes on in the U.S., yet she's using it to empower herself. Now, Blake, he looks like he's doubtful, and that I don't have a problem if that's what you're doing and that's what you want to make money with. Knock yourself out. But part of the problem is this misogyny really truly does carry a terrible price. I work with sex workers a lot, right? One of the things is, and that ranges from what you think of as streetwalkers to high-class call girls to strippers to those who do cam work and all the way up. And one of the bad effects of misogyny is if you are limited in your economic capacity, and that is one of the effects that misogyny has, mm-hmm. What happens is then you are coerced into using your sexuality in order to get money. So I don't know. I mean, I'll just be frank. I know a lot of strippers. I work with a lot of strippers. And the basic problem is they don't go to the strip club because they go, oh, geez, I really like doing this. They go to the club because it gives them, one, a sense of power, which is really something that mm-hmm. If you're not involved with that, it's difficult to imagine. And number two, where else are they going to make the kind of money where they can support themselves? That's exactly what they say. And they buy into that hook, line, and sinker. And the problem is getting them away from that, from the addictive nature of having that money and that power. And that is a dark, seedy underbelly of misogyny. And that is one of the reasons why I sit there and I think we need to figure out a way to be able to legislate what is coercion, what is rape, what is sexual assault, because those definitions, as we've just discussed, change over time. So my question to you, mm-hmm. is there a way to do that?
Well, I mean, we have legislation that defines sexual assault, that defines forcible rape and those kinds of things. But the larger point that I guess I would make in response to what you said, especially about people that are in who are sex workers or who are in the in that field and all of its attendant subfields, is that wouldn't happen if there wasn't a market for it. And and really what they're feeling is not so much. I'm sure that for some it's empowering, because all of a sudden you have a man there or whoever, and you can do pretty much, and he's going to let you do pretty much whatever you want to do. That's not real. That's not actual power. That's that she is gaining. That's power that's being lent to her by the guy who is going to take that back from her as soon as his fantasy is satisfied.
Absolutely.
And the frustrating thing about that is that in of itself, the contempt that we feel for women who are in this line of work as a culture, and we do. Otherwise, we wouldn't have vice laws that outlaw prostitution and the like of it. And we look down on dancers and women who are in pornography, and we hold a lot of contempt for that sort of stuff because because it is this fleeting thing that we think you should be able to get that kind of power for yourself some other way. They're being given power on a temporary basis. That's the very heart of what is the
problem with misogyny.
Yeah.
So, well, good. I've only made one critical error and today, so I'm pretty happy with that. And want to thank Blake for showing up. Are you going anywhere this week? Doing anything?
Yeah, I'm at Blue Moon on Wednesday and Ducktail on Saturday.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We hope that you enjoyed our show. We do tackle tough subjects, and this is a tougher one. And honest to goodness, if you want to come on the show as a woman and talk to us about what your experiences are, we'd love to have you on. I tried to get the Katie's and Sid to come on, but Sid was sick, and the Katie's went, I can't. So thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We will be back right after this week.
Hi, I'm Representative Tom Shaw, and I love these guys. Both of them.
Love these guys. Get over here. Love both of them.